Okay, share audio. Okay. Right. So I want to straight into this.
Remember, Cecil also will tackle one of those changes, like when we're getting the test.
Yeah. No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle that with another group.
Okay.
So you see, even here, I'm doing 2015 with you.
Yes,
I'm going to be doing 2016, 17, and 18 with another group.
okay.
But because, exactly, because all of them I'm going to upload all of them online, then you'll have access to everything.
Yeah, and remember, you don't put it specific class, you just put it as the
Exactly.
module codes.
Exactly.
Okay,
So you have 2015 there with you, right?
don't use, I can open it quickly.
Yeah, just open that quickly because that's what we want to revise. I just need you to open the question paper.
Because I just, like I said, I open quickly to see how this will class.
Yeah.
That would be test 2 or it's exam 2015?
Exam 2015. Exam 2015.
There's 2 here, the essay.
Yeah, leave the essay because that's what we're displaying now. I want you to download the question paper.
Okay, so it's.
All right. Have you got it in front of you now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we go to question 3 there. And if you look under the required, you see there, I'm just going to tell you about just to save some time so we get through the whole paper. But if you have any questions at any point in time, you can ask us. Yeah, I'm actually not even going to be doing like each one with you. I'm just going to be talking through it. And then, if you have any questions, then yeah, feel free to point out. So under the required, you see there, they're asking us to do the cash book payments. And they're asking us to do the Creditors Journal, right? Then they say, hint, remember to total all journals at the end of the month and to round all answers to the nearest rand, okay? Use the relevant transactions from those given above to complete 3.1 and 3.2, all right? For this company, all right? For the month of May, okay? So then we go up and we read the top of the question. It tells us that we're a bookkeeper. The owner is Mrs. A. Jolie. The business is a registered VAT vendor and trades only with registered VAT vendors that can provide tax invoices. The business charges 14% VAT. Okay, for the sake of going through the question, I've done it already on 14, but when you practice, you guys must just do 15.
Yes.
All amounts are inclusive of VAT unless VAT is not applicable. All right. Then there they say, as the bookkeeper, you have been provided with source documents for the month of May 2015 necessary for the preparation of the journals specified below. The business used the perpetual inventory system, okay? And then they're giving us now the source document codes. OIN, OCN, CC, JV are the source document codes below for the renumbered original invoice. Okay, so OIN, original invoice, and then OCN is original credit notes, and then CC is check counterfoil, and then JV is journal vouchers, respectively. Okay, cool. So we now know what they want from us. We've read the additional information. We then have to go through each transaction. Okay, so the first one there, trading inventory purchased on credit. Okay. All right, we know this is for the Creditors Journal. Then we move on to the next one. Trading inventory returned to the supplier. Creditors Allowance Journal. Then the next one, and there you can see from the source code, OCT, original credit note. All right, CC, all right, that we know is Cash Payments Journal, because that's check counterfoil. Okay, drew a check for petty cash. Okay, next one again is CC. All right, so that should be Cash Payments Journal. Next one is OIN, original invoice, okay? So that means that we were buying something on credit. Yeah, so that first one is actually supposed to be, so yeah, trading inventory, original invoice, so that's Creditors Journal as well. Okay, and there you can see they said excluding VAT, so we now need to calculate the VAT inclusive. Then JV there, all right, journal voucher, all right, so that's general journal, all right. And then it says A. Jolie contributed computer equipment to the business. All legislative requirements have been met for the full VAT amount to be claimed. So in other words, we can claim input VAT. Okay, then we go on. On the 13th, it says cash purchase of trading inventory for 17,227 less 10% trade discount. Okay, immediately we calculate what is this amount exclusive of the discount. Yes, exclusive of the 10%, and that's going to your cash payments journal. Then again we see CC, all right, cash purchase of stationery, cash payments journal. So here we have quite a few transactions. Okay, then we have trading inventory returned to the supplier. That's cash allowance journal. Next one, purchased a staff room couch furniture and paid cash. Staff room couch. Okay, so that's going to be your cash payments journal. Okay, and there we shouldn't be calculating that because it's staff. It's for staff, that one. Okay, but we'll check that as we get into the respective journals. Settlement of account with Aurora CC, less 5% settlement discount. Balance owing at the beginning of the month was 684. Okay, and then round off to the nearest rand. Okay, so here we just need to double check. Are there any other transactions we did with these guys before we actually
I remember you said trade discounts is immediate, settlement is
at the point of payment. Yes, yes. Okay. Then the settlement discount received from Aurora for the settlement. Okay, so that now is recording the actual settlement discount, and that obviously you can see JV. So that means that there it's going in the general journal, and then on the next you see drawings by owner. All right, cash. Okay, CC. So you know this is cash payments journal. Then drew a check to pay the weekly wages. CC, so you know that's cash payments journal. Interest charged, all right, by Stefan suppliers on the overdue account. Okay, so we're being charged interest. All right, that is going to the general journal. You can see there JV. Okay, so immediately next step after we've labeled which journals, we just quickly go into the journals. Okay, first one for the cash payments was on the 8th. On the 8th, all right, and they drew a check for petty cash. Okay, so you can see on the 8th we just write cash. All right, you can even write cash withdrawal. Then you put the 800 in the bank, 800 under obviously sundry, and then we write petty cash. We go to the 9th. There, payment made to Ken Henry. All right, no settlement discount was received. Okay, because the amount was paid in full. Okay, so we take that full 13,000.
But doesn't they say the account was not paid in full?
We're looking at the 9th, huh?
Yes.
The account was not paid in full. Okay, so what they're basically just saying is we just made a payment toward the account. We didn't
So
settle
it's just
the whole thing.
recorded like that.
Exactly, so we still record it like this. So off our bank, this is how much we paid towards them. We know that this is for the creditors, someone we owe, and then it's done. Okay. Then we move on to the 13th. That was the next transaction for the cash payments. The cash purchase of trading inventory. All right. And that's where we had our 10%. So there, what we needed to do, can you see it's not the 17,000? So we needed to calculate 90% of that 17,000. And we plug that in. We know that on this, there is input VAT that we need to claim, since this is our trading inventory. So we plug that in there. Then the difference, we know in the trading inventory column is going to be the VAT exclusive. And then we plug that in there. Okay? That is how we record that. Then we can move on to the next transaction, which happened on the 14th, all right, with P&A, all right, and then we purchased stationery. Okay, so we quickly put in P&A there. We put in the amount that's going off the bank. We know that we can claim input VAT on stationery, And then obviously the difference between the two, the VAT exclusive is what we then consider to be our expense. Because remember, input VAT we're claiming as
Yeah, because
it's a current asset.
I thought that was like a VAT exclusive mini stationery
Yeah.
in the book.
No. It's something we can claim input VAT on. Yeah. I don't know why people always seem to get that one bit mixed
I
up.
think it's also with the office refreshments and stuff, something like that. You know, that's VAT exempt because that's entertainment.
Yeah, so that guy, yeah, it's exempt or not allowed. Entertainment.
I think it's not. I'm not sure exactly, but I know you can't use it.
Yeah, definitely you
I
can't.
can't remember now which of that was.
But yeah, just check in that table in Unitly. They should have entertainment and then they'll label it. Oh, I think it should be not allowed, but yeah, just double check that. Then I'll go on in the meantime. The next one we had was on the 18th. Okay, purchased a staff room couch. Okay, paid cash. Okay, so here we have paid furnitures. Okay, all right, and then obviously that's the amount that went off our bank account, 13,750. Okay, and then we have calculated input VAT because it's furniture. Okay, office furniture. Yeah, so that's fine. Office furniture. Then we have settlement of account with Aurora.
So now you said was that couch we couldn't claim input.
Yes, I actually thought about it now as I was mentioning it.
Because I wanted to say that also doesn't make sense because you're still buying it from
Big well, when you think about it, I know that things that are for staff typically is not allowed. But now when you think about it, this account that it's actually affecting is office furniture.
Yes.
So we know that we can claim input VAT on office furniture. So that's why I'm like, actually, I think it makes sense to actually claim VAT on it. So I was now thinking too much.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I can't see.
You know.
That's where the error comes.
So yeah, that was my bad. My apologies there. So then on the 20th, yeah, now here we're paying our creditor, sorry. We're paying our creditor. But obviously we don't know how much exactly we owe our creditor. So what we then need to do is we need to look at every transaction that we have with these guys. Because remember, this is in settlement. Okay, so we see on the 11th, 18,400. And then also on the 16th, stuff was returned. So we're going to minus that 18,400 from 1,500. Okay.
18,400, yes.
And then they told us what we were owing was 684. So we have to take that 684 and add it to.
So the second column also doesn't contribute to it because it's also on the 20th and it's also to do with that settlement discount from on the account reference code.
Sorry, say that again.
The 20th also has got it's the same account just below it for also Aurora. And it says settlement discount received from Aurora for settlement on account. So does that only happen afterwards, after this first one we're doing now? After the settlements, or do you first work that out also and put in the settlements?
Sorry, so just repeat that question again. You're basically asking.
So this can you say amount of information?
Yes.
Must we only work that out after we have that, or is that inclusive to help you work out that because it's both on the 20th?
We have to. No, that one is on the 16th. Can you see?
Yeah, what I mean.
16th?
Yeah.
Okay. No, this is going to affect the general journal.
Okay, so we don't have to. It's
We
just
can ignore that
putting
for
there
now.
to throw you out.
It's actually the same transaction. Here, they didn't need to do this for us. We should have picked it up. Okay, because obviously, but they did tell us that we are generating source documents for you. So I guess in a sense, they did have to do it. Okay, but the whole point is that we only need to focus on this for now. Okay, but in focusing on this payment, we have to calculate how much was actually owed. So remember that 18,400 that I told you about? It was excluding that.
Yes.
So we needed to calculate the amount inclusive of that. Okay? Now, obviously, I don't have a calculator immediately on me.
Understand that.
But then we quickly calculate that, that amount inclusive of that. Then we say, can you see there? On the 16th, they said trading inventory return to the supplier. So we need to then deduct whatever amount we come up with, we then need to deduct it off of, so here I didn't actually show that calculation, but we needed to deduct that. And then can you see here we're plussing the 680, because they said this is what we owed at the beginning of the month.
Yes.
All right? And then we come up with this 21. Then we know that we have a 5% trade discount. So then obviously that's how we're arriving at the 20,707.
So technically, just to make sure, the trading inventory return, we just deduct that amount from the 18 of the 20.
Yeah, we will just deduct that amount. I just want to now double check that I obviously have. You have a calculator there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what I want you to quickly calculate is 118 divided by 100 times 18,400. What do you get?
Yeah, I don't know if I did that one correct.
118? Sorry, 114? Okay, yeah, so you plugged in the wrong amount. Just quickly press. Let's just start again.
Start again. Yeah.
Okay, so 114?
114.
No, 14, not 14.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right. So divided by 100. Okay, then equal sign. Let's get that sorted first. Okay, equal again. Get the actual. There you go. Then you say times 18,400. Okay, so that's how we get that amount right there. Can you see that? All right, so we've gotten that. Then we say to ourselves, so here I actually forgot a step. We need to deduct that 1,000.
That's returned.
That's returned, yes.
Yes, yeah, the 1,500.
Yeah. So we need to deduct that 1,500 and something, because we owe them less since we returned it. Does it make sense?
Yes. Again, then you plus.
And then you plus the 684. So this amount of 20,500 and something should actually be less. How much should it be? Should be 20,064. You've added this 600.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, added to the answer.
Okay. This is why I call it my suggested answer.
No, I understand.
Yeah, no, I'm just repeating for the guys online or the guys who are going to watch this video at some point. Yeah. So then obviously we record also under the debtors control. Okay. Let me just scroll up a little bit. Okay, then we record obviously because this payment is going towards, our creditors control. It's going towards our creditors, and that's why we've done that there. Okay, then we're done with that. Then let's look for our next, there the owner took out cash on the 21st. So there you can see, right, here we wrote cash, we could have said cash withdrawal. I think that would have been better. Or we could have put the owner's name, okay?
Don't you put drawings?
No, drawings we put under sundry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So here I actually would have preferred you put the owner's name, not cash.
Okay.
Okay, and then 3,000 there, and then, yeah, we know there's no VAT on that. Then the last one, draw a check for weekly wages, okay? Again, there you could have just wrote cash withdrawal, or, yeah, that's fine, you can put cash, and then you put that there. We know that there's no salaries and wages exempt, so we're not calculating VAT on that. And then you just put it under sundry, and you see salaries and wages. Quite faint, but yeah, you should be able to see that there.
I remember they said if it says cash here, you can use cash, but there by the owner it says drawings by the owner. So I guess that's why it's better to put the name of the owner.
I would prefer it that way because cash is kind of very ambiguous, or you know. But oh well. Cool. Let's proceed. Okay, so the next thing they wanted us to do is the Creditors Journal. They actually didn't ask us to do the. They didn't ask us to.
Recorded in the journal.
Yeah, but they didn't ask us to do that.
I think it's like you said last time, they tried to catch you out.
Yeah, they're trying to catch you out. I thought they would have asked it, but okay, it's fine. So then, you see, this is why I was saying you need to know each journal and how it operates, what's supposed to put in. Because can you see, they've given us so many transactions, but actually we don't have that many transactions to actually record. So if you don't know which journal is supposed to go in, it's so easy to start to record things that are not supposed to be there, paying attention to things that shouldn't be there, and so forth, so forth. So you can't run away from knowing each and every one of your journals, even if they just ask you to, you see. But yeah, so the first transaction we had for the Creditors Journal happened on the 1st, okay, with K. Henry, all right? And then there we know we're just plugging in the VAT inclusive amount under creditors control. We calculate the input VAT, since here we were buying trading inventory, and then we plug it in over trading inventory. Then again, we have a transaction on the 11th with A. Aurora, where we're purchasing. Okay, can you see again, we calculated the actual VAT inclusive amount. Then it gave us the 18,400, which was VAT exclusive. Okay, plug it again under creditors control, calculate the VAT, and then obviously we plug in the VAT exclusive under trading inventory. So that was the journal. That was the journal.
I'm surprised how much points you got for the cash book.
Ooh, but I'm not surprised because it's quite a lot of transactions that they actually asked there. But you can see.
That's the most simplest, almost.
Oh, for the cash payments, yeah. But you see what they're also doing, because they're asking you stuff that is not there. They are really testing you to say how well does this person actually know their cash payments journal, you know, and also their creditors journal. So you can see there are 40 marks. You know, with journals you can expect anything, eh? Because there's so much that they can ask you. Okay, so we. Yeah, they didn't ask us to talk. And if they're giving you, if they're telling you that, then you know there's a mark. There's marks there. Yeah. So anyway, you can see there I didn't total my journals.
I just remember in the test they didn't ask us to total.
Yeah, but you guys should definitely do that if ever they ask. Okay, so now I'm just moving on quickly to the next question.
Now, most of this work I'm fine with. It's just that got me was a trial balance. I was hoping it's not in the test.
Yeah. No, that was an unfortunate one. I just want to rotate this nicely there. Okay, cool. Now we can see things properly. Okay. So again, man, here what they've done is now they've given us the individual debtor and an individual creditor. And if you look up there, you can see they've actually given us the opening balances. E-Funny is your individual debtor, and S Coplay is your individual creditor. All right, there you can see the balances. And so here, what are they saying? Prepare the individual account of E-Funny in the debtor's ledger, all right, from the information provided for the month of May. Prepare the individual account of S Coplay in the creditor's ledger, all right, from the information provided above. No transaction codes are required. Round all amounts to the nearest rand. Assume all journals are for the 5th month.
The transaction codes would be the foils.
Sorry, say it again?
The transaction codes, would that be the foils?
No. Your transaction code, remember, would sit.
Oh, it goes in front.
Yeah, it would go in front of date. Yes. Either in front of date or behind date.
No, I remember now. Sorry.
Yes. All right, no problem. So there you can see. If you can see what they've written there. Assume all journals are for the 5th month. All right, therefore CBR5. So that you now know they definitely want you to use your FOIL. Okay, so.
So, but also the DB1, wouldn't that be D5 then technically? You know, on your top, your title, the bit one. Yeah.
DB1, right?
No, DB, just D1.
D1, yeah.
Wouldn't it technically be D5 then because it's the 5th month?
No, so what that D1 is actually standing for is for, this is our first debtor. So if we had a second debtor.
So every month or so, it's again DB1 or.
No, yeah, for him it'll be DB1 always. So if we had a second debtor, that would be D2.
Yes.
Makes sense?
Yes. I always thought it's with the month, but I can understand now with the letters and that.
This is why that other time I was saying that I feel like they've messed up. Remember that time when I was saying in the folio it's actually supposed to be, I can't remember whether it was, which month it was, but they had done the exact same thing. And that's when I was like, no, that's actually an error. Because in the folio, we're looking in terms of the month. And here you can see it. They said May, and we know May is the 5th month of the year, you see. So even for me, I was like, am I wrong? Am I teaching these kids? But now you can see how.
Because that's one thing that I was always a bit iffy on is the little codes. This last time I asked you, and it's not most of the marks. So
yeah. But again,
it's good to know.
Yeah, no, for sure. But again, the codes, they will always tell you what type of code to use for when somebody buys, when somebody returns, etc. So you can't get the codes wrong because they will give you the codes, and then it's just interpreting what type of transaction took place here.
Yes,
it's a copy and paste. No, you don't need to worry about that. So now what we need to do is quickly establish which transactions are for F funny and which ones are for escrow claim. Okay. So first one, sold goods to E funny for 7,400. So I think just in the interest of time, I'm just going to when we establish who it's for, I'm going to just deal with this. Yeah. So we know with F funny or with E funny, sorry, fanning. And the opening balance was the 39,600. Okay. I've already marked which transactions are for him, so we can just skip that thing.
No.
But when you guys are doing it, take the time to actually just establish. Yeah, quickly run through it just to see. Okay, this for this person, this for.
So you get that practicing for the exam.
Exactly. All right. So we've thrown in the balance there. Then first transaction was that one on the first. Sold goods to E Fanning. For 7,400, including that. Issued invoice INV 5-15. Okay, so can you see how easy it is? We write in the date, we write in the doc number, then we know that this is going to affect the debtors journal because we sold on credit. And this is for the month of May. And then we know that we increase our debtors by debiting. So we put the 744 on the debit side, we add that to the balance, we've got our new balance. Next transaction happened on the 2nd, okay? And there it said received a check from E. Fanning in full settlement of her account balance on 1 May 2015, as shown above. Less 5% settlement discount. Receipt number REC2 was issued for the cash portion received and journal voucher JV12 for the settlement discount granted, okay? So already you can tell that we had a settlement discount here. So they didn't tell us how much was received. They just give us 5% settlement discount. So to figure out how much was actually received, all we need to do is quickly calculate what is 95% of what is owed. We know that what is owed is 47,000. Okay. So you punch in receipt number 2. We can calculate that. I didn't calculate it here, but you can do that in brackets either within that section or at the bottom. And then that's how I got to the 44,650. And then the difference is obviously the 5%. So here you don't need to do another calculation of what is the 5%. You can quickly just write JV 12 because you know that this is in full settlement. In other words, they owe us nothing after this transaction. So then you can quickly then say, then here you go GJ 5. We know this is the cash book receipt because so the CBR 5 is because we are obviously that's where we receive money. So again, you can't do this folio here if you don't know your journals. You see, all right. So then, yeah, we'll plug in that, and then obviously the balance is now 0. But as we go along, on the 10th, we see it was realized that invoice INV 5-15 was undercast by 720, including that. Fanning was contacted in this regard, and she accepted the debit note for the amount. So in other words, she accepted that yes, she's been undercharged, and she's willing to accept to pay that difference. So there you can see they told us debit note, all right, DN15-5. So we plug that in. See, it's such a copy and paste job. It's only here where you start to need to use logic. Folio, the amount obviously is going to increase what is owed, so we're going to debit that, and then we have our balance of 720. Okay. Then we go on, and the next transaction where we see e-filing is on the 25th. All right. Here it says received the bank statement showing that the check received from e-filing on the 2nd of May 2015 was dishonored due to insufficient funds. Make the necessary entries. JV26 was issued to cancel the discount. Okay. So here, what are they telling us?
5% discount.
Not only that, we also have to cancel the amount we thought we had received. Because we're saying that a check bounced.
Yes.
You see? So if my check bounced, that means we haven't received the amount you wrote on the check, and also we need to cancel the discount we gave you because we thought you were settling earlier, but in actuality you weren't because you received nothing. Makes sense? So first thing we want to do, we just write an RD check. In other words, return to drawer. Okay, this is going to affect the cash payments journal. Remember, initially we wrote it in the cash receipts journal, or cash book receipts. We said we are receiving this money, or we received it. Make sense? So to reverse that, because remember these both affect the bank, we then have to do it on the other side. So we put it in the cash payments journal. Does that make sense? And then can you see it's the same amount here that we have here? Okay, so they owe us more now. We've plugged that in, and this is the new balance. Then we know we have to also reverse the discount. And then we know that was journal voucher 26. This is also going to affect the general journal again. All right, and then we plug in that, and that's how much they now owe.
So, sorry, that's VB12 for the first discount. Where did you see that?
JV12.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
entry, because I didn't see that they gave that entry on here.
Yeah, so you are supposed to know because the fact that there was a settlement discount. We know that all settlement discounts are entered into the general journal.
Yes.
So we can't just just leave this balance because we know that it was in full settlement. So we have to write off this balance. Does it make sense?
Yes, no.
So that's what's happening there. Makes sense? Okay. So again, sometimes they tell you these things, sometimes they don't. But the fact that they said that the source document there was generated JV12, then you know, okay, I have to do something in my general journal. Yeah. So that was the data, the individual data. Okay. After this, I'm going to give you a break. So with Coplay, this is our creditor, a person we owe. The first transaction, remember, first thing we have to do is record the balance. That we have a balance that we owe this individual. Okay, so we plug in that 89,400, no problems. First transaction happened on the 5th, all right, and there it says purchase trading inventory from S Coplay, 36,000, excluding that. Okay, all right, so we now need to, can you see there I was calculating the VAT inclusive amount, because when we're in the debtors and the creditors, we know always using that inclusive amount. Okay, so obviously we took out more stock, so we know we now owe them more. So in other words, our balance increased. Okay, we credit and our balance increased. Then we go to the next transaction, which was on the 15th. Returned half of the goods purchased from S Coplay on the 5th of May 2015 and received their credit note CN20 for the relevant amount. Okay.
So half is from that day.
Exactly, half from that day. So quickly we just divide by 2 and get that amount there. We write in the information, credit note CN20, and this is obviously affecting your creditors adjustment journal. Okay. And then 5. You see, if you don't know your journals, folio is going to be nonsense. Or you're just going to leave it blank.
Yes.
And yeah, fine, you might get 1-2 marks here. In fact, probably get 1
Yes, no,
over here.
I just mentioned the start, but as time went on, I understood the start a bit better.
Yeah. No, but that's fine. I mean, I'm just also just sharing for the guys who are listening online. And then here, obviously, it's going to reduce our balance because we returned it half of it. It's not rocket science. This is why I say This is your marks. And how many marks did they give here? And you see that 40 marks.
Yeah, in total.
40 marks. So if you totalize on your journal, you totalize on this, you're already almost halfway because you just need 90. You see, to be 50% on your exam. Okay. Then the next transaction was on the 15th. The next transaction was on the 20th. Okay, and there they're saying charged interest of 12%. So I put here 15, but oh, I did put the 20. Yes, I did put the 20. Okay, no problem. All right, 12% per annum for 60 days, based on a portion of 45,000, included in the balance 89,400 as shown above. JV25 was completed. Okay. So can you see wherever you see JV, you know general journal is affected. Okay. Base your calculation on 360 days in the year and round to the nearest rand. Okay. Let me see here. It's obviously an interest expense. Did I calculate it? I see I put a star there. I don't know if I calculated it down here somewhere. So basically you're saying 12, aha, I did. Okay, so that's fine. So basically you're saying 12% times 60 days out of a 360 year. Okay, if they didn't say, you would have assumed 365. If they don't say, you assume 365. Okay, then times the amount that is due. And how much was due? They said 45,000. Okay, was overdue. Okay, and there we go. And that's how we then calculated our interest, which was 900 rand. Make sense?
That makes much sense. And that's the way they stated it. I know that would but if you know.
Yeah. This thing requires practice. Eh? Yeah. If you've seen it for the first time, you might be confused to say, should I be using 89,400 or should I be using 45,000? Should I be using, what am I using this 360 for? You know, and so forth, so forth. You have to have practiced this stuff and then you'll be fine. But if you haven't, you can still get it, but it might give you some.
It's just mainly, you get the normal stuff, but then you sometimes get outliers like this that you're not always used to.
Yes, like the 360 days, yes. I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. All right, transfer 45,000 to S Copley by EFT as part payment on the account. So then you just quickly write EFT, simple. CP, because you know this is money leaving us. So CPJ, 45,000, and you can see you change the balance there. So we don't always end up with a balance of 0. So, yeah. Okay, what's the time now?
It's 10 past 11.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, let's park it there for now. And then when we get back, we'll jump into question 5 for 2015. We'll probably, or try and finish all of them, all of the questions. I think maybe question 1 we might not touch on because that one's just theory. But hopefully we can at least